Turn 10 Studios have been making racing games for a number of years now, and they've been very successful. Forza Motorsport is one of Xbox's best franchises, and by far and away one of the best franchises when it comes to racing games. And you could have almost forgiven them if they'd become a little complacent with all their success after all these years. But luckily for us, this is not the case with Forza Motorsport 7. They have absolutely set a whole new benchmark here for not only themselves but also think for all competitors. Forza Motorsport 7 has over 700 cars at launch. 700 cars! That is by far and away an increase over Forza Motorsport 6, which had 450 cars, and is absolutely towers over its main competitors. Project Cars 2 and Gran Turismo Sport had about a couple of hundred cars each at launch. But what truly sets this collection of cars apart from all the other games is how incredibly diverse it is. There are everyday common cars like VW Golf, also cars that are a bit odd like limos and trucks and things of that nature, but more importantly, there is an incredibly big collection of super rare cars that everyone dreams of having. Numerous Aston Martins, Ferraris, Porsches, super race cars, even classical race cars, Formula 1 related cars from the 70s and 60s. Turn 10 Studios absolutely knows how to create these cars, but also how to mix them up, how to make it interesting for the gamer. And what is incredibly important to note right now is this isn't a case of a huge amount of quantity with no quality. These cars have been absolutely created with an incredible amount of detail. Each of these cars feel truly unique and not just a copy and paste job. They sound different, they of course look different, but more importantly they feel different. The way they drive actually feels unique to each and every one of them. You will truly feel a huge amount of difference from when you drive one of the more common cars, where obviously you're a lot slower, the performance is lower, but as a result there's not as much risk when you're driving those cars. But when you move up to one of the high-end top ranging cars, you will feel the difference. The speed is so much greater, but as a result of that there's a sort of high risk high reward situation where any slight mistake can make you go completely over the edge and have you flying out of the corner. One of the great trademarks of the Forza games is the driver system. When you're facing single player opposition or computer AI, where Forza differs from all other games is the fact that you're not actually facing a robotic programmed machine that just mindlessly goes along the racing line, that's very predictable, that just follows the exact same approach every single corner, every single lap, every single race. What you're actually facing are real life AI simulations of real gamers. You're actually facing the AI representation of an actual gamer and their driving style. This is incredibly unique, and it actually makes the races feel a lot more special and a lot more authentic, because when you're facing these AI opposition, they're a lot less predictable than in other games like Gran Turismo that just meticulously follow the racing line. In Forza games, and in particular Forza Motorsport 7, you will see some of these driver tars, AI opposition be really aggressive against you, try and cut across, brake really late, brake early. They will even in fact make mistakes, sometimes in their own private battles that are completely unrelated to you. As a result, the races feel a lot more authentic. There's actually a lot more special, a lot more unique each single lap, every single race, because you're not quite sure what's gonna happen because of the unpredictable nature of the AI. The newest addition to the game is the dynamic lighting and weather system. As you race, the weather and the lighting will actually change depending on the time of day and the obvious conditions. So you can actually start some races where it's starting to become a little darker, and by after a few laps will actually be in total darkness. You'll also get races where you might start with a little bit of cloud, a little bit of few raindrops, but by the end there'll be actual lightning and thunderstorm going on. The graphics when this happens looks absolutely stunning. The transitions are beautiful, the lighting is the best ever seen in a Forza game. and the actual rain as the water collects and the puddles are created is beautiful to see. It's so authentic and real that the puddles actually will have the reflection of the clouds from the sky as well, which is an incredible touch of detail, and this is something that Turn 10 Studios absolutely excels in. But what I'd like to note especially is the fact that these aren't just aesthetic changes. The actual gameplay changes as a result of this as well. As there's an increase in rain, the car will feel more slippery, you will start to lose more grip, you will have to change your racing style based on the weather conditions as the race progresses. This is beautiful and really helps to create more interest and makes the races even more of a challenge for you. If at this point you're starting to feel maybe a little intimidated or overwhelmed as you're not really that much of a huge car fan, or you haven't got that much experience in racing car games, you don't need to be. Forza Motorsport 7 is really good at basically catering to all types of gamers and with all types of racing experience. There's a wide array of settings and assists that you can either enable or disable depending on your own experience and depending on how much of a challenge you want to set. You can have it set to having a lot more assists so that you can have a racing line that goes all around the track, or just the brake line. You can change the difficulty level of the actual drivatars, the AI opposition. And what's really important to note, and what I really enjoy about the Forza Motorsport game, is the fact that it encourages you to sort of progress and up the ante, because as you increase the drivatar skill level, you actually get rewarded more with more credits. So if you start off at the most basic level, you don't receive any extra credit bonus, but as you progress all the different tiers, you can actually receive a 400% bonus if you reach the highest level, which means you effectively double the amount of money you make per race. This is really good, and it actually gives you a sense of satisfaction and achievement as you progress and increase the difficulty levels, which is something I found as well. I started off at the most basic level just to get myself the hang of the game, but by the end I saw reach the second highest level, which gave me an 80% credit boost before I, to be honest, hit my own skill level. Another strong aspect of Forza Motorsport 7 is the fact that there is quite a diverse range of modes. In particular, it specializes in, of course, the Grand Prix type of racing, but even that has a bit of variance, as you can go from either having a standing start to actually a rolling start. But more importantly, there is a lot more modes that are a bit more arcadey and a bit more outlandish, that maybe appeals to the sort of gamer that doesn't just want to do racing simulation throughout. You can in fact do bowling with your racing car, which is actually quite fun and actually quite challenging. But you can also do the passing challenge, where you have to pass a certain amount of cars within a lap, for example 40 cars while you're in a Ferrari as you go past everyday cars. There are negatives to the game. In particular, I think the fact that there's no qualifying is again a missing feature, and this is something, to be honest, that has been around for many Forza games. The problem is that it's sometimes really difficult to try and catch the more advanced AI opposition who are at the front of the grid when you're at the back of the grid or towards the middle. So by the time that you have to get through about a dozen cars, the cars at the front of the grid have really built a really huge lead, and it can sometimes be almost impossible to overtake them. Now, Turn 10 Studios have obviously thought about this, because they've given you the option of extending the number of laps that a race can actually run for, but sometimes people don't have time to do those longer races, and in fact prefer having just a 3-lap race. So I think simply adding a qualifying feature to future Forza games would be a massive step up, and it would be something that I would truly appreciate. Another negative aspect of this game is the whole prize crate system. You essentially get to spend your credit, your hard-earned credits, on random loot boxes. These loot boxes, you have no idea what you're going to get. They're completely random. You get maybe some sort of mod, maybe a car, driving gear, and maybe even legendary items, depending on how expensive the prize crate box is. But do you really want to spend 300,000 credits on a random box which will give you completely random prizes? All that hard-earned credits spent on basically a roll of the dice? I don't think so, and I basically don't think it adds that much value to the game. For me, there's one negative aspect of this game that is the worst of the lot, and that is the microtransactions. when you pay full price for a game, you don't expect it to have microtransactions. But the way gaming is going, unfortunately, a lot of these AAA games are now incorporating this into their model. And I can honestly live with it, but the problem with Forza Motorsport 7 is it's so in your face. The amount of times where I've clicked on a race or tried to enter a new rival event or a special event and then click to start the race and then it's instead put up an advert for a microtransaction is incredibly infuriating. They should simply have made it so that if you didn't already have the car in order to participate in the event, it shouldn't even be advertised to you. It shouldn't be there as an available option or appearing to be an available option. But instead, what's happened to me a few times is I've seen a rival event or a special event and gone, wow, that looks really cool. I want to try that one. I've clicked on it to start the race and then instead an advert appears saying, oh, it's £8.50 for the DLC pack and then you can do this event. Like seriously, I gotta pay another £8.50 in order to get this car, download it and participate in this race? Especially when it's plainly obvious that the programming and the actual work for these cars have already been done. That's why they're already there as an event. The fact that this has been there since day one shows that this has been intentionally cut out of the main game in order to charge you extra for it later. That is incredibly disappointing and it is incredibly just bad practice in my opinion and completely against the consumer. It is by far and away the worst aspect of Forza Motorsport 7. And for that reason, I just feel like I got penalised again because although most of this review has been positives and it is definitely an excellent game overall, and if it didn't have microtransactions, dare I say it'd be amongst the highest scoring, 10 out of 10 almost. But because of these negative aspects and especially the microtransactions, I give Forza Motorsport 7 an 8 out of 10. Thank you very much for listening. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much.